Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am Taylor. I share these What's for Dinner videos every week to motivate y'all to cook more for your family and to give you some ideas. Today's What's for Dinner is special. It's a collab with my new YouTube friend Bethany from Budget Bethany. She's a pretty new YouTuber, got a relatively small channel. She's super sweet mama who's from Georgia just like me. She shares what's for dinners, grocery hauls, and day in the life videos. Please make sure you go over and check her out. Her channel will be linked down below. Now let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. It is Friday and tonight for dinner we are going to be having this chicken dish. It's inspired by something I've seen Kristen's step make. It's called Pollo Bandito. I probably said it wrong. Whatever. It's her favorite thing to get when she goes to a Mexican restaurant. I've never had it, but it looks delicious. It's basically cooked chicken covered in cheese dip, served with Spanish rice and refried beans. So that's what we're doing. I've got 2 chicken breasts here. I sliced them in half horizontally to make them thinner. They'll cook faster. And then I've got a little bit of taco seasoning and some adobo to season them with. So I'm going to season those, and then over here in my pan I've got some olive oil and butter, and then I've got refried beans. Just going to heat up that can of refried beans, and then I've got my milk and my white American cheese and my jalapenos to make my cheese dip. And then over here in my pressure cooker I have our favorite Spanish rice recipe going. I've shared it like a dozen times. I will leave it linked down below. And since my saute function on this one isn't working properly, I did saute the rice in here to start because I feel like that's a pretty important step with the Spanish rice, is to saute the rice in a little bit of oil first. So I did that over there before transferring it and cooking in here because my pressure cooker just hasn't been doing right on saute. So I'm going to go ahead and get my chicken seasoned up and in my pan and get my cheese dip and everything made. For the cheese dip, I like to start with half a pound of American cheese. This pack of 24 slices is 1 pound, so I do 12 slices. I start with 1/4 cup of milk. You can add more to thin it out. I usually do that once the cheese starts melting. For the jalapenos, I dice up a little bit of the jarred ones. The amount is going to vary based on the level of spice you like. I probably do about a tablespoon, and it's pretty spicy. I just let that melt over medium heat, stirring it often. Okay, here is the finished dinner. I sliced up our chicken because I'm pretty sure you're supposed to cut it up before cooking, but I wanted to cook it this way. So there's that with the cheese dip on top, refried beans, and our Spanish rice. That one's mine. That one's Andy's because it has a ton of rice. And then these are the kids. And I did already taste the chicken with just the adobo and taco seasoning on it, and it's really, really good by itself. So I know it's going to be amazing with the cheese dip. But that is going to be dinner for Friday. For Saturday night's dinner, I made a homemade hamburger helper beef pasta. For this, I used 1 pound of ground beef, some onion powder, garlic powder, and minced garlic because we really like garlic, pepper and salt. Beef broth, I used this beef base from Sam's mixed with water. I started out with 3 cups of it, but you'll see later I add in 2 more cups. And finally, you'll need Worcestershire sauce and egg noodles. To start off, I browned the beef with onion powder, minced garlic, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Once it was browned, I drained the grease. Next, I added some Worcestershire, more pepper, and the beef broth and the noodles. At this point is where I realized I needed more liquid. I kept this simmering over medium heat until the noodles were done. This only took about 10 minutes. Once the noodles were done, I stirred in 2 tablespoons of water that I had mixed with about half a tablespoon of cornstarch to thicken the sauce. The longer you let it sit before eating, the more it will thicken. We loved this and it was so good reheated the next day too. Okay, here is our finished homemade hamburger helper beef pasta. I tasted it. It tastes delicious, so I definitely recommend trying it. And then, of course, we have peas with it, because this is what we always had with hamburger helper as a kid. Peas and a slice of buttered bread. So here are mine and Andy's plates and the kids' plates. Everybody's looking the same tonight. But that is going to be dinner for Saturday. It is Sunday, it is Easter Sunday, and even though it is just me and Andy and the kids, I still cooked a lot of food. So we've got deviled eggs, and I've shared this before, but I will have links to everything that I made down below since I'm not sharing me cooking any of it, because it's all stuff I've shown before pretty much. So as I said, deviled eggs. We've got some corn on the cob. There's 2 more pieces, but I cut them in half because it's a lot of food. We've got hash brown casserole. It's a Cracker Barrel copycat recipe. We've got green bean casserole, cranberry sauce, a big ham. We'll definitely be having leftovers tomorrow for dinner. And then I plan on making some sliders as well in a couple days. And then we'll freeze anything that's left over. I made some homemade rolls today for the first time ever. They're not like the best ever homemade rolls, but it was the first time I made them, so they are good enough. But I will leave the recipe link down below. It's from my Better Homes and Gardens pink cookbook. It was a really easy recipe, so if you've never made them before, you might want to try it because they were really easy to make. But I will be trying a different one in the future just to find like the perfect roll recipe. So these are the kids' plates. This one is Lily's. This one is Elijah's. He said he wanted some of everything. And then this one is mine. The only thing I don't have is green bean casserole because I do not like green bean casserole. I've tried it many times and I just don't like soupy green beans. But that is going to be dinner for Sunday. I hope you guys have a happy Easter. Okay, it is Monday night and dinner is the same as last night. So everybody's plates pretty much look the same. Excuse me. This one is mine. This one is Elijah's. And this one is Lily's. She's got just a little bit of green bean casserole to try back there. Andy's not ready for dinner yet. He's actually helping his dad with something, so he will make his plate later when he is hungry. But dinner is leftovers, and there's still plenty more. It is Tuesday, and I'm getting ready to cook up some chicken for some chicken salads. I've got my lettuce and stuff all ready. I've got my cast iron pan heating up. I'm going to add some olive oil and some butter to the pan like I usually do. And tonight I'm going to use this Slap Ya Mama seasoning, Cajun seasoning, and the Badia Complete, of course. Usually I do the Tony's Creole seasoning and the Badia Complete. I didn't realize that this Creole seasoning is almost the same thing as Cajun seasoning. I had a different Cajun seasoning that I used for specific Cajun recipes, and when it ran out, I ordered a different Cajun seasoning, but I got this one instead. And then looking at the ingredients, this is just salt, red pepper, black pepper, and garlic. This one is almost the same thing. Salt, red pepper, black pepper, chili powder, which has chili pepper, spices, salt, and garlic powder in it, and then dehydrated garlic, and then silicon dioxide, which is an anti-caking agent. So this has a little bit more filler stuff in it, but this one is just straight up salt, red pepper, black pepper, and garlic. So I'm gonna try this one tonight, and maybe it will end up replacing this. I don't know. We will see. But I'm just going to season my chicken breast on both sides with those seasonings. These are 2 chicken breasts that I cut in half horizontally, so they're thinner, so they'll cook faster. If you've been here a while, you know that. It's like on repeat. That's what I do to my chicken breast like all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and season it up and get it in my pan with some olive oil and butter. Okay, I just cut up all of that chicken. Here is Lily's plate. She doesn't really like lettuce, so she just has everything scattered about. Here's Elijah's, no tomato. And here's mine. So it's romaine lettuce, some cucumbers, some grape tomatoes cut in half, the chicken, some of these croutons from Walmart, some cheddar cheese, and some of this restaurant-style Italian dressing from Aldi. And that is going to be dinner for Tuesday. Okay, it is Wednesday night, and for dinner tonight, we are having ham and cheese sliders. This is the last night we are eating any of this ham. The rest of this will then go in the freezer. We did pretty good. We ate quite a bit of it. So, these are rolls. I made rolls on Sunday, and the recipe made 24, but I froze half of them. And then I baked them this morning. So I went ahead and cut the tops off like I would slider rolls. So I've got those laid out. I'm going to put a little bit of mayonnaise on the bottom, some ham, some cheddar cheese, put the tops on them. And then I'm going to melt some butter and mix some butter with some of this mustard, brush that on the top of the buns, put some foil over the pan, and bake this for 7 to 10 minutes on 350. And then I'm going to make some tomato soup to go with it. Here are the sliders. I ended up leaving them in the oven with the foil on for 15 minutes. So this is what they're looking like. The cheese is getting nice and melted. Definitely leave them in there longer. They're not like getting burnt or anything, but we are ready to eat. Our soup is hot. So here are our plates. The kids each have a sandwich and a half. I don't know that they'll eat more than that, but if they do, there's always more. And then I have two, and then Andy will come and make his plate. It is Thursday night, and tonight for dinner I am making some steak and gravy in the Instant Pot. Look, I got my new Instant Pot. This is the Pioneer Woman one from Walmart. When I got it, it was only like 50 bucks. It was on sale. I think it's usually like 90. I will try to link it for you guys down below. I did a little water test in it this morning just to make sure it's working good, and it was working great. So now we're going to use it for real. So I saw a recipe for a round steak and gravy. Round steak is just like the cut of steak and gravy, but I didn't exactly like all of the ingredients in it. So I decided to change it up just a little bit. So I have 2 cups of water here. I have like 6 pieces of round steak. I have a Lipton onion soup mix, a brown gravy, some minced garlic, and a tablespoon of butter. I'm going to put it all in here. And the recipe that I'm basing it off of says to use manual high pressure or the meat setting and cook it for 20 minutes. My meat is still just a touch frozen, so I'm going to put it in there for, I think, like 23 minutes, and hopefully it'll be done. And over here, I have cut up some potatoes. I have those coming to a boil so I can make some mashed potatoes. And then I think I'm going to do green beans on the side with this. Okay, it's been 23 minutes. I just did a quick release, so now we're gonna open it up and see what it looks like. Okay, because my steak was frozen, it's not quite done. I mean, it's steak, so you could eat it like reddish, like medium rare, but I'm going to pop the lid back on here, close it up. I'm gonna turn it back to sealing, and I'm gonna cook it for another 5 minutes. After another 5 minutes, the meat was done. I recommend 35 minutes if your meat is frozen and 25 if it's thawed, just so it can get nice and tender. I wanted the gravy thicker, so I removed some of the gravy and mixed it with a little cornstarch. And then I simmered that using the saute function until it thickened up. Okay, so I did make green beans. So here is my plate. Got mashed potatoes, the gravy, and the steak. And then here are the kids' plates. I went ahead and cut up their steak. And you guys, this steak is so tender and so delicious. I definitely recommend you guys try this recipe.
I need more.
I will.
That's mine.
But that is going to be our dinner for Thursday. And that is going to be it for this week's What's for Dinner. Don't forget, as I mentioned at the beginning, this week's video was a collab with my friend Bethany over at Budget Bethany. Please make sure you go check her out and subscribe. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!